Welcome to Raider Talks Thursdays. I am your host, Art Navarrete, here alongside Nick Yabara, and today we're going to be discussing Mr. Derek Carr. The question is, are the Raiders getting prepared to move on from DC? Nick, I want to hear from you first.
I'm going to just say this. I don't, throughout the whole, I don't know how long we've been doing this, but, Derek Carr is my favorite player. And me and you had countless arguments about Derek Carr these past 2.5, almost 3 years. It's one of those who knows, you hear that, after the season, we have an attractable job for the head coach GM because we have a franchise quarterback, because we have this, because we have that. And then you also hear that we can get a lot for Derek Carr. And then, you just hear a whole bunch of other things. I don't think we really know what's going on. This is just fans talking about what they want, what they don't want. Personally, I want Carr back. I want him to be a Raider for life, I think, no matter what. We'll talk more into it, but it depends on what he does these next 4 weeks.
Yeah, it just makes for a fun argument because we're kind of opposites in a way. Like, personally, my favorite player is I want Carr to be my favorite player is what I should say more because he's a Fresno guy. We're from Fresno. I love the person he is, but he's just not getting the job done and just hasn't made it to the playoffs. He made it to the playoffs that 1 year and sadly broke his leg, which was terrible. But since then, just hasn't been able to get the job done. So it just raises these questions, especially with all these reports coming out. So, we're going to have kind of a debate here on the show in an aspect, but why do you feel the Raiders should bring back Derek Carr for another season if they do not make the playoffs this year?
I think if you don't make the playoffs this year, no matter what, you got to go in with a plan. And I had some time thinking about this because of the report of Mark Davis is going to make his decision right before, the head coach or GM. I would maybe hold off on that and maybe have a plan with your head coach and GM, whoever it might be. Because if you don't have a plan and you say, all right, Carr, I'll see you later, and the plan doesn't work out as well as you hoped, then you could be in for a trouble season next year. I think the only way we get rid of Carr is if you get an upgrade. Now, there isn't really too many upgrades out there. The draft class this year might suck. Who knows until they get into the NFL, but, they don't look good. Free agency doesn't look good. When you're going to go into the trade market, who knows if Aaron Rodgers is going to be out there, Deshaun Watson. But also you might want to give those 2 or 3 first picks that you're going to give to them have a chance for your head coach or GM to do something, because it would suck getting a new head coach and GM and not seeing how they draft or what they do these next 1 to 2, maybe even 3 years of first rounders that we might be giving up for these guys.
For me personally, this is interesting. This is a very interesting question because it involves, do we want to win next year? Do we not want to win next year? Are we rebuilding? What's happening here? Because we got a team that we shouldn't rebuild, whether the quarterback's Carr or not. The team around the quarterback shouldn't be rebuilt. That's how I feel personally. Maybe you can make some adjustments to the offensive line for sure, but that's probably about it. You got a lot of talent in all other places. Maybe a couple of different upgrades here and there on other positions, but who knows? And it's interesting because say we're saying we're going to move on from Derek Carr and we can't upgrade because Aaron Rodgers is signing back with the Packers. Would it be one of those things where you draft one of these quarterbacks in the second round? Because I've seen some of these college quarterbacks, and there's a couple of decent ones, average, decent arms, just no one that looks like a superstar yet. Would it be cool to draft a quarterback, a young quarterback they think is going to be solid, have Carr on his last year of his contract and kind of teach him?
You can see it working out a little bit. You saw that even though it was the first round, you saw that with Mahomes and Alex Smith. You're seeing that right now with Jordan Love and, Aaron Rodgers. You see that all around the league. Who knows? Go draft a late round guy. I mean, that's how Carr was supposed to be. We brought in Schaub. Carr was supposed to learn from him a year, and Schaub got hurt. Carr has an amazing game against Seattle, and, the rest is history. He's now our starting quarterback for 8 years. It's just one of those things. Who knows? Who knows what the plan is? Who knows? But yeah, no, it is going to be interesting, and, who knows if you can get a rare talent in the second, third round to be our franchise quarterback.
Here's my thoughts on the situation a little bit. I'm going to play if I was Mark Davis. If I was Mark Davis, what I personally would do, this would be kind of my blueprint. If Carr doesn't make the playoffs, he's had so many chances, I'm going to move on from him. And I'm either going to roll out with Mariota, draft a quarterback, whatever I have to do. If Carr makes the playoffs, then I'm letting him play that next year of his contract. If Carr makes the playoffs and wins a playoff game, I am giving him an extension. So those are my 3 things. And I think it's fair to Mark Davis, and I think it's fair to Carr if he goes by that type of aspect in these next 4 games.
Yeah, I mean, that 8 years is long enough. But also 8 years is of a lot of crap that DC's had to put up with. I mean, as a Raider fan, I think we could both agree a lot of stuff has happened. 5 head coaches, a lot of schemes, a lot of terrible defenses,
Terrible offensive coordinators as well.
Yes. And then, no excuses, no anything. You come into this year, I think Gruden groomed Carr to finally what he wanted. You saw Carr be that top guy. He's freaking throwing the ball a lot. He's doing this. He's doing that. Gruden resigns. You see it a little bit. It picks back up. The whole thing with Ruggs, another number 1 receiver that he has gone. And now it's just like, you see now the rest of the season, everything just looks crazy. Just looks like if it's not even organized. I think DC's put up with this for too long. I mean, it's both sides. DC's play, but it's also just Raiders being the Raiders. That's really killing, I think, everybody in this situation. And, it doesn't help when we go against Kansas City, big game, and he gets pressured and hurried 22, 23 times. And fans are like, well, why is he checking down? Why is he only throwing short for it? Well, when someone's coming at you, you're going to throw it short. You're not going to sit in there and take the shot, when there's nobody open downfield. Because then that's when people start complaining, oh, well, he freaking threw and everybody was covered and, interceptions and all this. It's just, I think it's both ways. I think as a Raider fan, me personally as a Raider fan, if you can upgrade, you upgrade. I think personally I would upgrade without giving up draft capital because I would love to see what our new head coach / GM is going to do and what it's going to bring in, because it's not, well, we don't draft good no more, because you're going to get a brand new war room this upcoming season. And I think personally, as a Derek Carr fan, as a DC fan, my favorite player, I think, and I had a lot of time to think about this, I think maybe it's time for him to let go of the Raiders. I know he wants to be a Raider for life. Maybe it's time for him to say, you know what? This is too much. I'm done with this shit. You guys are dysfunctional. Let me go try to do something somewhere else. Matthew Stafford did it with the Lions. Even though they're in second place, they look good. That freaking all-star team over there in L.A., he's looked like he's coming into his own. Maybe that's what DC needs. Who knows what his decision is. I don't see him saying, hey, I need to leave. But as a DC fan, I think I would hope that for him.
It's really a tough situation all around because Aaron Rodgers is still playing on a contract, even through next season.
And Aaron Rodgers has the first seed in the NFC West right now.
Yeah, so it's a weird situation because we don't want to go in next year without a quarterback. It's either Carr or I believe Mariota. for next season. I feel like it's either one of those two guys are going to be the quarterbacks. And it's just a very interesting topic because, especially with Mark Davis said that he's going to pick the quarterback. He's going to make a decision on the quarterback before he gets a GM and coach. He's going to make the decisions. It just makes it really interesting because who says we just go and get a top 5 quarterback in football? That's just not likely. It's not likely. So it's weird because you want to win. You want to win now. We're in Vegas. I know Mark Davis wants to win now. And it's still uncertain if you're going to win with Carr next year because he hasn't won in a while. Mm-hmm. But it's uncertain. It's definitely uncertain if you roll out with Mariota. Or, like, what are you trying to do here? Maybe meet in the middle, give Carr another season, and then get a guy like Bryce Young. Do whatever it takes to get Bryce Young from Alabama and then bring him in. I don't know. It's a tough decision because we want to win and we want to win now. So it's a very hard argument to really have.
This is one of those things to where you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if Rodgers is going to be out there. You don't know if you trade for Deshaun Watson, what he's going to bring in a year off in football with all the stuff that he's got going on. Who says Mariota is going to re-sign with us this year? He's done. You're not going to franchise him because he's only played one game and a handful of snaps. Who says he says, oh, you know what, I'm done with you guys. I'm going to go try to find a starter job somewhere else, which I think he can do. So this is one of those things that that's what I was saying. Maybe you have a plan going into this because you can't just say, all right, Carr, you're done. And then Mariota says, well, okay, well, I'm walking out. Well, Rodgers is staying. Well, this is doing this. This is doing this. And all of a sudden, you have old-ass Fitzpatrick suiting up for us next year. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know. And us as Raider fans just like really? We gave up a top 10, top 12 quarterback for this guy coming in? I would just like a plan. And I think they are going to have a plan. But I wouldn't be so cool just to give up on Carr after the Charger game if we don't make the playoffs. Out of the Charger game, Bisaccia, Carr, Mayock, you guys are done. And then we go from there because I think that would be a little bit scary.
For me, it depends. It depends, obviously, on the end of the season and all that. But say we don't make the playoffs, right? And I'm Mark Davis. I think, personally, what I would do is I would give Mariota the job. I would say, Mariota, you have the job next year. If you're going to resign with us, you have the job next year. And give him the job next year. Unless Mark Davis is thinking, okay, I'm going to do whatever it takes to sign the best offensive line in football, and we're going to have a top 3 offensive line. For me, personally, I feel like Derek Carr needs to have a top 5, top 8 offensive line to be successful because he's a pure pocket passer. And you can see him move around a little bit and make plays happen, but not as much as he saw Mahomes the other day on Sunday. Literally every play, he was moving and scrambling around. Carr is in concrete over there on our side. So if you're not going to upgrade that offensive line that much, then I say you have to roll out with Mariota because he might just give us the best chance to win with his legs.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, but I just don't like, hey, you got a shitty offensive line, so instead of Carr, top 10 quarterback, you can go to Mariota, who hasn't started a game in 3-4 years.
But you never know what you're going to get.
No, exactly. We don't know what we're going to get.
With Carr, we kind of know what we're going to get a little bit. Because we've had him for so many years, and he's only made the playoffs once. You can only guess that it's going to be another, at most, a 9-7 season in a way, depending on how this season ends right here.
I think no matter who you bring in next year, you need to revamp this offensive line. Or you need a good
at least the right tackle.
No, exactly. And I think you need at least a good line, no matter if it's Carr, no matter if it's Mariota, like you're saying, no matter if it's anybody. I think you can have anybody back there, but if we have the line that we're having right now, where it's no time, no running game, no anything, you could be some successful, but you're not going to be all the way successful with the line that we have right now.
Do you think with the line we have right now that Patrick Mahomes can go be successful? Because I think he can.
But come on, like for real, you're putting the number 1, number 2 quarterback Just he's a Super Bowl champion. He's an MVP. He's this. He's that. Yeah, I don't think you compare a guy like that to anybody because what Mahomes does is crazy, and someone's going to figure out one day. But you're asking me, well, can you play with any line? I mean, it's just.
But I'm saying because Mahomes can move around, and Mahomes can make stuff happen, and I feel like the closest thing we can get to that right now is Mariota. I mean, if you look at all the quarterbacks, he has the second top-ranked 40-yard dash in the NFL Combine. It might even be one. He might have beat Lamar Jackson. I'm not too sure. I know he's top 2 for sure. And don't you feel like Mariota just give us a great chance to win with the offensive line we have now? Or even if we do get a right tackle, I feel like he just gives us the best chance to win with his legs. And he's always had the arm. He's always had a good arm. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. If you told me coming into the draft, I know Carr and Mariota were different years, but they said, do you want the Heisman or do you want Derek Carr from Fresno State? I'm saying Mariota. And you never know what Mariota can bring to us with his legs. You saw that game against the Chargers. Obviously, we didn't get the job done, but Mariota was the only reason we were in that game, and he looked like the best player on the field. We were one play away from winning that game against the Chargers in 2020, and that was on Gruden. You know Mariota's not going to go check a Gruden call when he gets into the game for the first time and suits up as a Raider.
Mariota got benched for Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill.
Mariota got injured. Mariota got hurt.
Mariota got benched for Tannehill. Tannehill was not good in Miami at all. Comes in, gets benched.
Mariota got hurt.
Mariota doesn't see his job back.
Mariota has a winning record and has 2 or 3 playoff appearances.
Okay, but there is no winning this conversation because you wanted Carr gone year 2 of Gruden. This was every offseason, this is what you wanted.
Because by the end of the season, it seemed like Carr faded away, and he's doing it again this year for a 3rd consecutive year.
As soon as we signed Carr, you text me, our new starting quarterback, our new this, or new that. Mariota has only played 1 game. 1 game with us, he started, he still lost. Like you said, 1 play away.
Carr started the game, though. Carr started the game. He lost the game.
Whoa.
Carr started that game.
Half of the first quarter? You're really going to do half the first quarter?
He didn't score when he had the drive.
Wasn't it like 3-0, 7-3? Wasn't it like 3-0, 7-0?
I'm pretty sure it was 7-0. 3-0. All right, we have a win.
Well, I'm just saying. You're
tie.
But you're saying 1 play away, 1 play away, 1 play away. Carr's had a lot of 1 plays away that was out of his control to boost his record, to do this, to do that. But
it's different because he's been been the Raider quarterback for 9 years. He could check a play if he wants to. Mariota's not going to go in and be like, oh, I'm going to check this play from Gruden because you know Gruden. Nick, you know Gruden. If he told you to play quarterback right now, just, I don't know. You're not, obviously not. But, and he gave you a play to run, would you be like, nah, coach, I ain't running that? No, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't. That's what I'm saying. Mariota hadn't played a game in so many years because of injuries and all that. And he's not going to go in and tell Gruden, no, I'm not going to run this play. Carr, on the other hand, has been a starter for the past 8 seasons or whatever, 7 seasons at that time. And he's going to be that guy. He needs to be a leader and step up and go in and say, you know what, we're not running that play. And he has the opportunity to do that every ball game.
No, you're right. You're right.
I mean, it's not even an argument. If Carr plays these next 4 games, he plays good, we make the playoffs, I want Carr as our quarterback. But I'm saying if Carr just can't get the job done, or the Raiders just can't get the job done in general, it's probably time for the Raiders to move on and DC to move on to bigger and better for DC and the unknown for the Raiders, because you never know.
I think that's the way it would be. I don't think he retires if we cut him / trade him. I think he goes on and has a Stafford Tannehill kind of way where he goes out and all Raider Nation's like, man, why didn't you do that for us? Why didn't you do that for us? And for us, I think if we do that, I think we got to have a plan and a good plan.
Yeah, because if you trade Carr and you trade him to a good offensive line or a team with a top 10 defense, he's moving on to bigger and better, whatever. All these teams, I see a bunch of teams that can use a quarterback like him. But like I said, the Raiders will be getting the unknown. You never know what's going to happen. But in the Raiders' defense, they think they know what they're getting out of Carr if Carr has another, well, it's a 17-game season this year. But if he has like a 9-7 season right here or a 7-9 season, they're going to feel like that's the Carr we've been getting for the last 3-4 years. Average to below average winning record quarterback. They're going to feel like they know what they're getting from Carr, but maybe the unknown's better. Maybe the unknown is maybe they can be a team that goes 10-7. But you're taking the risk of having a losing record and being worse than a 9-7 team too. So it's kind of tricky on every end of the spectrum. I don't know.
We get a new quarterback. How long are you giving him? We get a new quarterback. How long are you giving him until you say F him? He isn't it. He ain't taking this playoffs. He ain't this.
I think I'm giving a team quarterback a full season. Well, it depends. Well, I'm giving a quarterback a full season. For sure, 100%. But after that one season, if he doesn't get the job done, you got to keep going and trying to get that quarterback that's going to take you now. That's going to get you to the playoffs now. And if, like, say next year, we roll out with Mariota or anybody, then, okay, we went in the unknown. We sucked. The experiment didn't work. Now we have a good draft pick. Let's go get Bryce Young, Alabama quarterback. And he's an athlete. He's good. Kind of gives me Kyler Murray vibes, Drew Brees vibes. So, I mean, it's these next 2 years depends solely on Carr, whoever the unknown quarterback, the next draft. It's just a bunch of things.
Yeah, we're in for these next 4 games. We are in for the next 4 important games of maybe Raider history, because after this, you go on, you find a new coach, you find a new GM. And they could sit there and say, hey, we're cleaning house. Hey, we're going to build off of this. A couple pieces here, a couple pieces there. We're going to move this, bring these people in. Or it could be, like that. Like I said, just that total rebuild. It's just who knows. And, it all starts, this Saturday against the Browns. We need to go 4-0 to have a chance at the playoffs. And I think it all starts with DC and how he plays. These next 4 games, it's going to be a decision on Mark Davis and maybe our new GM, head coach, whatever. But it's going to be interesting to see this next month and a half football.
Yeah, we can argue and say all we want, but there's 4 games left in the season. And if Derek Carr gets it done, I'm on board, 100%. I'm on board. If he gets it done, makes it to the playoffs, I'm on board. Let's build off it, go into next season. So it just all depends on these next 4 games, and it starts off against the Browns, a half team. We're playing a half team. They don't have no head coach. They don't have no quarterback and a bunch of other different skill players.
Yeah, it was crazy because I'm a big numbers guy, betting guy. I look at the numbers and stuff. It was funny because as soon as we lost against the Chiefs, I think Cleveland was like a 5-point favorite. And then yesterday, there was a couple on COVID. They were like a 3-point favorite. Now we're favored by 1.5, and it's crazy. What's going down there in Cleveland is crazy with all the whole COVID stuff and everything. And we just got to take advantage. We've literally got to just take advantage. Case Keenum's their backup. They might have no head coach. Jarvis Landry's out. Austin Hooper's out. That's a big part of their offense. I think a couple people, 1 or 2 on their lines out, and a couple defensive guys. We need to step up. This might be a running game. DC's probably going to have to be a game manager, some timely throws, and some critical situations. This is going to be a big game. We beat the Browns. You got the head up on them in the playoff race, and we go build off of that. This is a huge game.
This is a huge game for DC, too. This can end some it's not going to end some conversations. This conversation ain't ending until the fat lady sings, until either the season's over or we're sitting there on wild card weekend. So you never know. But we can have all these arguments, have all these discussions, but you never know what's happening upstairs in the Raider organization. But I don't know. It's fun to have these talks though, because you win the argument in your way, I win the argument in my way. There's no right or no wrong. So I mean, you never know. It's going to be a fun 4 games, and then a fun draft, and then a fun next season. It's just these 4 games determine the next 2 years of the Raiders right now. So it's going to be interesting and fun. I'm excited for this next game. If we win, either way, hopefully we win. We better win. Then we still keep our playoff hopes alive. But then if we lose, then it gets you more excited about, okay, who's going to be our coach? Who's going to be our GM? What's Mark Davis going to do about the quarterback situation? Is Carr coming back? Is he not coming back? Mariota? We're going to draft someone? It's just going to be an interesting time for Raider football no matter what.
No, you are absolutely right. It's fun having these conversations because at the end of the day, you don't make decisions for the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't. None of Raider Nation fans do. I think this offseason is all it can be about Mark Davis, about what he wants. I think he's going to take full control and pick out the GM that he wants and pick out the head coach that he wants. I know he did that with Gruden, but completely, and have an understanding of what direction we're going at all positions and what we're doing. We're in for a good offseason. I think no matter what, playoffs or not, we're in for the next good 4 games as long as we keep winning. And even if we don't, then it just sets up for even a bigger offseason. But we're in store for the next couple of months of interesting Raider football as on and off the field. So, yeah.
I think unlike before, Mark Davis knows a little bit more about football. I think he's starting to learn the game, the X's and O's a little bit more. So I think it's about time for him to start making decisions, start being more like his father, Al. Before, it looked like he just gave the keys to someone. You ride the car. Ride it. Hopefully we win. Now, it seems like Mark Davis is going to start getting more involved and start trying to win more from his knowledge and from what he knows. From a fan's perspective a little bit. You're sitting on the couch, you're like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? I feel like Mark Davis is he's an owner of the Raiders, but he's the biggest fan of the Raiders. So I think he's going to do the decisions that maybe the fans would like as well.
Yeah, maybe. This is going. I think you're right about the fact that he just gave the keys to somebody. I think Gruden with the whole 10-year deal, like here's the Raiders organization. Just make me look pretty. This is all on you. And I think this year is his first one. He's got a stadium. He's got a city behind him. Now it's time to go make a football team that's going to compete. And it just got announced today that Vegas is hosting the 2024 Super Bowl. So if we want to play in our stadium for Super Bowl 58, it's going to start this offseason. It's going to start Saturday, but obviously, to build, it's going to start this offseason, and I think so. I think he's going to do whatever it takes to win, no matter how much it costs, how much he has to give away. He's going to do whatever it takes to win.
Yeah, if you want no questions of the future of the Raiders, let's go out and win these next 4 games, make the playoffs, win a game, and there'll be no more questions. Let's just go out there and play football. But for me, either way, this is how I feel. I don't know how Nick feels about this. If we make the playoffs, obviously I want to keep Carr and all that. But no matter what happens, I feel like we definitely need a new head coach, and I think we definitely need a new GM just to spice things up, switch things up a little bit. For all the good that Mayock has done, all the good players he's got, there's been too many busts. And that's just can't fly. And we're going to need a new GM that's going to win on those first-round picks. That's going to get those first-round picks that are game changers and that are superstars. And we're going to need a head coach that can run a football team. It feels like Bisaccia can't run this football team. I feel like if we're going to win and we're going to win these next 4 games, it's all on Derek Carr. It's all on Carr being the coach, being the leader. And all those guys, all those captains, Max Crosby, all those guys, Perryman, Yannick Ngakoue, Josh Jacobs. It's going to take them to win this. It's going to be a players' collective effort to win these next 4 games and make it to the playoffs and make it run. I feel like it won't be the head coach. So I think no matter what happens, we have to get a new GM and a new coach. I don't know how you feel about that.
No, you're absolutely right. when we were 2-0, and even that or with Basachi, when we were 2-0, that 2-2 mark, I was still saying, hey, we make the playoffs no matter what. It's gonna be hard to let go of this guy. Everyone's around him, but then I'm seeing some of the things that he's doing, and we just don't look right. We just don't look good. I think it's no matter what. I think it's without the question that he is probably gone after the season. And as far as Mayock, who knows? They might give him 1 year. Hey, you and this new head coach, let's see what you draft and what you do without Gruden. But I think you need a fresh start there too. I think I think that whole upper what I don't even know how to say it, but I think GM, head coach, they need to go bring in a new group in and see if we can get this thing rolling.
Yeah, that whole situation I think needs a little bit of a fresh start. And I loved Mayock. I loved the pick. He's a guru, draft guy, best mock drafts, but just hasn't got the job done. I'm still rooting for Mayock. I really hope that we can make a run and he's the GM next year. I kind of would love to see him one more try without Gruden, where it's just Mayock's picks. Because no matter what people are saying, they were Gruden's picks. And that's how I feel because, like you said, they gave him that 10-year deal, and Mark Davis gave Gruden the keys to the car.
Yeah. It'd be really interesting to see what went on in the war room on draft day, because I think this was all Gruden. I mean, Mayock's had his,
this is what I think. I'm going to say it before you go. I think those upper picks are Drew. And then I think those lower picks, the ones that are succeeding, I think those could be Mayock. Because Mayock's that guy that he does a great mock drafts. And the reason his mock drafts are great is not because the first round's good. It's because that second round's good. That third round's good. That fourth round's good. Those later rounds are good. So I think maybe he has a huge impact on these later round picks. That's why they're so good. But maybe Gru was like, okay, I want him as my impact player, Those are my 2 first round picks.
Yeah, because it seems like, when we draft, it's just like, okay, we're going to do this guy. And then if he gets picked, then we're not looking all the way until like second round. And then we drop that second round talent all the way up at the 4th pick with Cleveland, or, at the 17th, 18th pick with Arnett. And it's just like what are we doing here? So, it would be interesting to see Mayock have, I'm not going to say full control because, whoever your head coach is going to, have his say too, but, have his very own drafts. Hey, let's do this my way, and see, because like you said, I think all the first picks were Gruden. He had his eyes set on maybe 1 or 2 players. And if that one was gone, well, then, hey, we're going to go up next on our draft board. We're not going to take best available. We're drafting this guy no matter what. And it's came back to haunt us. And so it's going to be interesting to see, especially with the draft this year, what whoever our GM and head coach is, what they're going to do.
100%. We got the Browns, Broncos, Colts, Chargers. We need to get these wins. Need to try and make the playoffs. And then all questions will be answered. We will see you guys for Raider Talks pregame on Friday. And should be a good one on Saturday. Go Raiders.
Go Raiders.